Was an addict here, guys. Afternoon. So I've been lying in bed and I've just been looking back on my journey, and just thinking how fucking proud I am, like the person I've become. Like, I look at videos of me when I was an addict and when I started to get clean, and that's a different person. Like, I don't even recognize that girl anymore because this is me now. Well, I went through great struggle and great, like, going within and just discovering, like, shadow work to get to where I am. Look, I was a druggo. I was a druggo for 17 years. My life was about using drugs. I could not do anything functional unless I was drinking or I was high. So I had literally drowned out my good feelings in my mind. So to get that feeling again, I had to use to be able to get up and do life. So I used to go out for dinners and I get so anxious. I just want to go home. I want to get on the fucking pipe. I need that, because like I'm feeling like really uncomfortable. Like, I need my hit to be here right now. And I used to drink to the point of blacking out because I just couldn't be a part of it. Like, I needed to be out of my head to be okay. And I was pretty good functioning when I was drunk and I was out blind because I knew it so well, yeah. But coming to the day where I stopped using and I decided to no longer drink or get high, and having to cope with life and discover that I don't know anything beyond drugs. I don't know how to hold a household. I don't know how to deal with my emotions. I don't know how to deal with mental health that just went from there to fucking extreme out of nowhere. Like, I didn't know how to do shit. And it was scary and it was uncomfortable and it was the hardest thing I had to go through. Like, I didn't want to do it. I thought about death fucking daily because it was so extreme to get clean and stay clean. So I don't know where my strength come from, but I basically did it solo because I didn't know how to leave the house. I didn't know how to deal with humans. I didn't know how to be a mum. I didn't know how to be anything. So having to do this, I had to do it on my own because that's the only way I could do it. And having to find that strength and that courage and discover who I am and why I become this person was, one of the biggest things I had to face. You basically have to rewire your mind. I had to see things not as what I seen them as. Like, one of the things I did is I put a pipe on my wall, a cracked pipe on my wall. It's a picture on my wall. I did that to desensitize my brain of what I saw because it was all good. You get all the good feels about it, but what it's done to my life, it's ruined my life. So I had to, basically go within, discover, search. I did a lot of searching on the internet. I looked at how to overcome the shit I was feeling, how to understand my mental illness, try and find out what I actually had because it wasn't just depression, and I knew that, and I've never been diagnosed with anything, but there was something else going on. So I went into, everything. I come like my own fucking doctor. And, I watched these things on YouTube and I wrote them down and I studied it. Like, I went to study on myself, I went to study. This is like a fucking amazing little mind. It went from fucking drug addicted junkie, to like fucking Dr. Bella, to an extreme ability to understand and stand back as a person and navigate seeing myself in real life and navigate that to try and train as a person standing back watching myself, to try and train myself to see and understand. I am not godly, So I didn't go to the God side. Um, I'd done some things that, traditional ways, that didn't help for me. But I really did silo, I really just went within, and the strength and the power that I started to discover was just mind blowing. The first couple of years were deadly, and I thought about ways I was going to kill myself, because when you come off this drug is the devil. So you come off this drug, not only do you withdraw from it, but you start to become the darkest person you could ever imagine. And it's so scary, because the dark energy inside you will convince you that you have to die, because you can't get through this world without using that drug again. So you have to really have that mental stability to say, hey, fucking just get to sleep tonight. Get your head on that pillow. And that's why I went through routine, because routine kept me in line. And it could be the smallest routine, but getting up at once, 9 o'clock in the morning, every day at the same time, having the shower that's the very same time every day, and just having that routine to stay and keep that stability. And sometimes I don't want to get up and do that things at that time in that day, but I fucking made myself do it. I made myself come into this line of this is routine, because when I do this routine, when it comes 5 o'clock, I can lie my head down to rest, and I made it through another day without using. And that's what I did for years and years and years. Now my routine is full of everything that I need to stay clean, because I've passed that hardcore stage. And I tell you what, the hardcore stage took fucking 4 years to get through. So strap in, because it's going to be a hectic fucking battle. Whether you go there, wherever way you go, the battle is going to be full on. And you've got to really strap in, because it just doesn't come to you overnight. Like, you've got to fight, you've got to listen, you've got to try, you've got to make that effort, even when you think, fuck, I don't want to do this. And he's saying to you, just have a shot, just have a pipe. It's going to be at you, And that's why you've got to desensitize your mind, and you've got to create new memories. There's things that I've, changed the memory. Like, I used to go down and party at somewhere here where I live, and that was, a mind, my mind remembered getting on it and having fun. So I had to create a new memory. So now I go to that park, and it's no longer me getting high there, having mad times, but it's a new memory of having family time there, taking my family there, having my first Christmas in recovery, like just changing everything around. And I did a lot of research on YouTube. Sorry, I got something in my eye, guys. I got a lot of research on YouTube, and I used to write it down. Anything you can, you just write it down and go through it, practice the things that they tell you to do. Meditation taught me to control my thoughts and understand thoughts come in and thoughts will go out, because thoughts can turn to triggers, and triggers can turn to using. So you really have to learn how to understand a thought, because thoughts is not it's not your drinking, it's your thinking. It's really the thinking that sends you in that obsession to want to drink. So you've got to learn how to get the thinking and saying, that's, flick it, get rid of it, stop thinking, stop overdoing your head. So just going right in and understanding you completely, the all of you, learning about myself was, it was hard at the start, but then I started to feel like I was my own best friend. I started getting up every day, loving to spend time with myself, to figure out what am I going to learn today? How am I going to get through this today? What am I going to know that's a trigger? What am I going to what's going to make me want to fall today? Am I going to think about the pipe today? Am I going to slip up and want to have a fucking drink today? So it come an obsession to fight against that demon that I've kept in me for 17 years. The day I put my lips on that pipe, it's been in me and it possessed me, to believe that was all I could do. And I needed that to, and when you stop, all your dopamine's all gone. So we get into depression and all that kind of stuff when we get clean, and then we've got to build that up as well underneath all the other shit that we experience. So strap in, sit back and observe your behavior. I always say to people, start writing, just write, wake up and write something. Just anything that comes to your mind. Like, I used to have the fucking hecticest ideas. Like, I started to get all these visions and all this, and I kept writing, just keep writing. And as you keep writing and start learning, it all starts to fall together and it becomes your coping mechanism. And that's when I got my writing and I put it into a big book. It's a scrapbook. I go back to your childhood. I used to love colouring in, so I got a book and I turned my recovery into a scrapping book all about myself, and that has helped me massively. But I had to do all the work, and I shut the world out and I just concentrated on me, and I learnt how to cope with me. And now I'm one of the strongest people in the fucking world. I've created this person. I was a druggo. I had no life about me. I didn't give a fuck about nothing. Now I realise I've got a beautiful family. I've got a beautiful son. I almost threw that all away to addiction, and I'm lucky to have got out when I did, to experience life now, because I'm feeling the world on a pure level, my heart is open, so it's beautiful. And all those times I threw away to get high on something that you actually don't need. Once you build your brain back up, once you start getting those dopamine happening and you start getting fit and you realize who you are and you know how to sustain your fucking mental illness and stuff like that, you'll start to get amazing, and you'll think, fuck yeah, and then just opens up. I was cold-hearted. I did not love like I love now. I loved to the extent I could love, but I knew I had something missing. And what I feel now is something so fucking pure, and that's because I created it. I let myself break to discover and open and connect with myself and leave the drugs and alcohol behind, because it's not what I needed. It was just a mask of the pain that I suffered with from my childhood and my adulthood, through my relationships and the things that I suffered from, the dreams I chased that I only got kicked down, and all these things I can go into that, I've been here the whole time. I just had to discover myself. Drugs are not the answer. Either is alcohol. We've got some beautiful, beautiful power. We've got some beautiful power in here. We don't need no mask. Emotions are welcome, and understand to get through things without. It's normal to feel, cry, experience, sadness. It's all normal. We need to learn how to deal with emotions, and not think that they're got to be hidden, and anything that you suffer from you don't need to keep in here. Let it go. Let it fucking go, because it will make you sick and it will kill you. Trauma kills you. It makes you very fucking ill. I come out of my addiction and I went into severe mental illness, and the day that I released my trauma is the day that I understand my mental illness, and nothing will hold me back anymore. Was an addict.